The first thing I noticed was the silence, an unnatural, heavy quiet that clung to the house like smoke. The faint hum of the refrigerator and the distant chirping of crickets were all that dared to break it. I had walked in through the front door, expecting the usual signs of life. My wife's laughter echoing from the kitchen, the smell of coffee brewing, the clutter of papers and books she always left in corners. But instead, nothing. Called her name. Emily. My voice sounded foreign, almost afraid, as if even I didn't trust the words I was saying. No answer. I dropped my keys onto the counter, the metallic clatter sounding unnaturally loud. That's when I noticed the open bedroom door. A small, stupid thing to notice, but somehow my chest tightened at the sight. Emily never left doors open like that. She hated it. Something inside me stirred, a premonition, a flicker of dread I tried to push away. But curiosity, that dangerous, insistent itch, pushed me forward. I stepped into the bedroom, and that's when I saw him. Not a shadow. Not a stranger in the night. No, this was someone I had never met but whose presence shredded my world in an instant. A young man, someone who could have been straight out of Emily's college years, sprawled across our bed with Emily pressed against him. Her body entwined in a way that made my stomach churn and my heart pound violently against my ribs. Time froze. I didn't breathe. I didn't move. Emily's head snapped up, her eyes wide, a flash of panic, then recognition. Mark. I didn't give her a chance to explain. My vision blurred with rage and disbelief. Who is he? The words were jagged, trembling with fury and hurt. It's not what it looks like, Emily stammered, but her voice cracked like fragile glass. I couldn't stop myself. Not what it looks like. Emily, you're in our bed with him. Explain that. My own voice sounded alien to me, full of disbelief and grief. The young man scrambled, fumbling with the sheets, guilt written across his face. I didn't know. I turned to Emily. You didn't know what? That you were married. That you were supposed to be honest. That you promised me. Us, a life built on trust. My chest heaved, tears stinging my eyes, but I hated myself for letting them come. How could I let her see me cry? Emily's hands shook as she tried to cover herself with the blanket. Mark, please, it's complicated. I never wanted to hurt you. I missed him, okay? I missed what we had in college and I thought, I don't know. I thought it would be okay. Just this once. Her words were poison and salt all at once, burning my heart and making it ache in ways I couldn't describe. The betrayal didn't just feel like a slap. It was a hammer, breaking everything I had believed about us, about her, about love. I sank into the chair at the corner of the room, feeling hollow, like the ground beneath me had crumbled. You missed him, I whispered, though it was more a scream inside my chest than a whisper outside. You left me for nostalgia. Emily's eyes glistened with tears, and for a moment she seemed almost small, almost like the woman I married. The one who laughed at my terrible jokes, who used to curl up beside me on rainy nights, who once told me I was her home. But that image, fragile as it was, shattered again in an instant. I didn't mean for it to happen like this, she said, her voice breaking. I didn't mean to hurt you. I felt alive with him, Mark. Felt something I can't explain, but I didn't think you'd find out. I thought I could. I shook my head, unable to follow her. You thought you could cheat and I wouldn't notice. My hands were shaking, my fingers clawing at the arms of the chair. Emily. After everything we built. After all these years. And you. I stopped. I couldn't finish. I couldn't even form the words for the betrayal I felt. The young man shifted nervously, avoiding my gaze. Sure. We didn't. Don't. Bark. You don't get to talk. This isn't about you. This is about her, about the woman I trusted, the woman I loved. My throat burned, my heart was hammering, and yet a strange, cold clarity began to set in. The rage wasn't enough. The heartbreak was raw and deep, but beneath it, a sobering truth crystallized. I deserved honesty, and she had chosen lies. Emily fell to her knees, tears streaming down her cheeks. Mark, I'm so sorry. Love you. I love you more than I can explain. I made a mistake. Please. Please don't leave me. Her words twisted like a knife. I wanted to scream at her, to shake her, to make her understand the depth of my pain. But instead I felt a quiet, devastating resolve settle in. I could no longer see her as the woman I married. Not fully, not yet. Not while this betrayal still hung in the air between us. Love? I asked quietly, my voice barely audible over the pounding of my heart. Is this love? 'Cause I don't recognize it. I don't recognize you. Emily's sobs grew louder. Mark, please. We can fix this. I'll do anything, anything. I stood up, my legs shaky, and moved toward the door. I didn't look at her. I didn't want to see her pleading face anymore. I needed air, needed space to breathe, needed to process that the woman I had trusted had betrayed me so completely. Outside, the night was cool, the air heavy with the scent of damp earth and blooming jasmine. I pressed my palms to my face, feeling the sting of tears, the ache of heartbreak. How could someone who promised forever break it so easily? How could the woman I loved choose a memory over our life together? I thought back to the first time we met in that crowded coffee shop. Her laughter like sunlight streaming through a window. I thought of our wedding, our first apartment, the nights we stayed up talking about dreams and fears. And now, all of it felt fragile, like glass slipping through my fingers. Hours passed. I didn't know how long I stood there, staring into the dark, letting the pain wash over me in waves. Finally, I made a decision. Not in anger, not in revenge, but in clarity. I couldn't let this betrayal define me or my life. I couldn't stay in a home where trust had been shattered so completely. When I returned inside, the house was quiet again. Emily had moved back to the bedroom, sitting on the edge of the bed, her face pale and drawn. She looked up at me with desperate eyes, but I only shook my head. I can't do this, I said softly. I can't pretend. I can't go on like this, knowing what you did. You chose him. Not me. Not us. No. I have to protect myself now. Her lips trembled, words failing her. I could see the weight of regret, but it was too late. The damage was done. I walked out of that house with nothing but the clothes on my back and a heart that felt heavier than it had ever been. The night air wrapped around me like a blanket, cold and cruel, but somehow it felt alive. I didn't know what the future held, or if I could ever trust again. But I knew one thing. I would survive this. Somehow I would. And maybe one day, when the wounds had healed enough to stop bleeding every time I thought of her, I could remember the love we had once shared. Not with bitterness, but with the quiet understanding that even the deepest love can falter when trust is broken. For now, though, I walked alone, carrying the echo of betrayal and the faint glimmer of hope that life could still hold something real, something honest, something mine.